All right, guys, this is our fourth and final video in our series on finding and fixing leaks on HVAC units. This one we're going to call defensive roofing. We're going to talk about what defensive roofing is and how you can do it. Stick around, and we'll show you what it's all about. What's up, guys? My name's Aaron, Exterior Pro here in our shop, shooting this fourth video on our series about finding and fixing leaks on units. So we have taken our scope of work, which is roofing, right? This is a roofing video. We have expanded our scope to include finding and fixing leaks on the HVAC units in this series. So if you haven't seen this series, I recommend you go back and look at it. But we are roofers, so we don't have anything to do with HVAC, but we've expanded our look into the units to try to resolve leaks. That's kind of what defensive roofing is. We're gonna go beyond what we typically would consider our scope of work in order to defend against leaks, callbacks, a loss of profit, nonsense things that we didn't cause. So HVAC was a great way into an idea of defensive roofing, and that's why we're doing this video. But there are many more things that can cause roof leaks that are not roof leaks that are up there. So like HVAC is just one of those. So as we talk about defensive roofing, what we're gonna do is we've expanded our scope. Throughout this video, we're gonna expand our scope even more, even further into other elements that might cause you leaks, and we're gonna take a look at them. Now, it's impossible for me and my company to do all the different things that you guys are doing. So what we're gonna just throw out in this video is pretty much examples of how to be a defensive roofer. It's not exhaustive, it's not complete. You're gonna have to take these ideas. We're just gonna lay out examples, but then you take the ideas and you apply them into your field, into the kind of buildings that you're roofing, into the industries that you're roofing the buildings. Maybe it's all industrial and you've got a specific set of things that are not in your scope, but they can cause you leaks and they can look like roof leaks. Well, then apply these same ideas. We do a lot of restaurant work, so our video, we touch a lot of other trades. So that's what we're gonna do in this fourth and final one, where we were on HVAC specifically for 1, 2, and 3, did the water test in 3. Now 4, what we're gonna do is we're gonna expand out and even look at more examples and then try to get a better feel for what defensive roofing is. All right, guys, where I got the idea for defensive roofing was several years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago. We were doing a job for a university, and we were the roofing contractor. The whole project was to take a dorm or create a gym and make dorms out of them. So there was an old gym and it was a project. So there was a construction manager, a GC, we were the roofer, but the GC had sent in the superintendent with a video camera, and this has been a lot of years ago. But I remember this guy, a very seasoned superintendent, was taking a video camera and he was walking around before this project started, and he was videoing things and he was talking to himself in the camera. And I just happened to be there. Construction had not started yet, and I said, hey, can I ask you what you're doing? And he said, well, son, let me tell you something. I've been around for a long time, and we've done a lot of projects like this, and I think this is just a good thing to do. And I said, well, what is it? What are you doing? He said, well, we're just making sure that all of these things that we see that we might get blamed for at the end of this job, that we've make a note of them. So I go through and I video. He said, this has saved me a lot of time and effort. And I said, man, that is a good idea. So he said, hey, let me show you. He said, see this big crack in this concrete deck? He said, that's not on the scope of work. We're not going to fix that. That's going to stay. We don't want to get blamed for it at the end. And he said, see this masonry wall? We're not going to do anything with that. And that's not on our scope. He said, but we may get blamed for it at the end. And he went on down through the list. And I thought, man, this guy's sharp. Now, he's not trying to shortcut his scope. He just doesn't want to be blamed for things that weren't in his scope when he gets to the end of the job. He was a very honest, trustworthy guy, just trying to protect himself. He was doing defensive building. So I took those same ideas. I thought, man, he's a smart guy. Guy's been in the business for a long time. He's made it through. He's a seasoned dude. He's since retired, but hey, I learned from that guy, and I took those ideas and I turned it into what would be in my field as defensive roofing. So let's take a look at defensive roofing in terms of other trades. So there's several aspects that we could do, right? Other trades that we connect with, that we have to coordinate with. Let's do that one first, because we already did HVAC. Well, now let's look at siding guys. Let's look at masonry. Let's look at framing. Did the framers frame anything that is going to pond water for you? If they did, guess what? I'm going to video it before. And it's very easy now with these iPhones and all these things. Did the siding guys poke hole in my roof? Do they have? Did they, when they wrapped their returns around the side of these buildings that we did they caulk their joint? Or do I need to caulk? Do I need Do I need to coordinate better with them? Where's the wood nailers at? Who's stopping with where? All of these things that we're touching, I want to either snap a picture of, I want to know about them. Not because I'm going to be the siding guy or I'm going to tattletale on them. It's just I need to be aware of all of these other conditions that may get blamed on me if they were happen to leak. What about your electricians? What about your plumbers? I try to coordinate with these people, right? I don't want them to cause me problems. I don't want to cause them problems, but I don't want to be blamed for something if they cause a leak or do a detail bad. So I want, like I said, I want to expand from my roofing into where my field of view is not just on my scope, but it's on all the scopes that touch my scope, right? Because I'm defending my profits. I'm defending my reputation. I'm defending my finished product. I want to turn over a great product to the owner, right? Or the building owner, the GC, whoever it is. I want a great product. I don't want somebody to tear up my product, or I don't want them to have problems with it, right? I'm going to defend against that. So when we talk about defensive roofing in terms of the trades, think about what trades that you coordinate with. What are the typical problems that may or may not see? So one of the ones that we see, they weld gas lines over top of our roof. Roof's already down, they have to weld gas lines. I always make sure I ask, I said, hey dude, would you please put you a piece of plywood down and throw you some welding, but please do not come up here with that welder and just start welding on top of my roof without, oh man, we would never do that. Well, guess what? Yeah, they would, and they do. I ask them. I'm defensive. I'm not mean, but I ask them, hey man, you gotta protect your job, and you got a job to do. I got a job to do. Help me help you, man. Let's. And if you make a hole, just circle it. It's no big deal. I'm not gonna get mad at you. Just circle it. But I don't want to come up here 3 months after the job's turned over for holes that were burned into my roof from welding. So it's that type of mentality that I'm trying to convey in this video. Think about the guys that coordinate with you and coordinate with them. Expand your scope. Ask about them. You don't have to be mean, but I'm informed. Hey, are you going to do this? Or are you going to do that? Who's doing this? What are we doing? A lot of that should happen in the job trailer, but you and I know that it doesn't. A lot of times the coordination happens in the field between guys, and it's just one man asking another man, hey, do me a solid, try not to poke holes in my roof. So I definitely want you to think about defensive roofing in terms of you coordinating with the trades that are going to directly work on your roof, touch your roof, have something to do with your roof. Refrigeration, guys, is a big one for us, right? Hey, right at the end is a refrigeration. I don't want holes in my roof, guys. I want to put your candy canes in and do what you got to do. But I need you to do what you got to do, but without hurting me. So we're going to work together. So that would be the first one. So besides HVAC, think about who you coordinate with. Get defensive, protect yourself, protect your product, help them. Nobody wants callbacks. They won't get blamed for them. I can promise you that. You'll get blamed for them. That's the first one of defensive roofing. All right, guys, the next area of defensive roofing that I would probably say is a pretty critical one is within your own product. So when we travel around and we bump into inspectors that we're not used to. When I'm in my area, of course, I know the inspectors, they know me. There's a certain level of trust. You get outside your area, you travel a couple states over, you bump into a new inspector, the guy's probably going to grade you harder. He's not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. He's going to assume that you might be just some traveling gypsy roofer trying to skate through his area and do a bad job, and then he's going to get hung with it. So they tend to grade harder. So what I try to do is figure out anything that would be difficult for me to prove my innocence. And when I say that, I can't easily prove to him that I back sealed around a pipe flashing before I slid the pipe flashing on there, unless I've just shot a picture of it. And if the guy comes up and he says, hey, I don't think you back sealed these pipes, and I pull out my phone and go, oh, you mean like this? No back seal like this? Or the guy says, hey, you didn't put butyl on your trims, or didn't you? Oh, you mean butyl like this? Very easy to be defensive. And I'm not saying it's not doing it to badger the guy. I've just got an ace in my pocket because why? Because I did the right thing and I just shot a picture of it. Defensive roofing is as simple as that. You don't have to be mean to be defensive. You just have to protect yourself. So anything I would say, even in your own products, in your own network of people, anything that is not easy for you to prove your innocence, shoot a picture of it, man. Hey, your fastening pattern on your plates and your board, hey, shoot a picture of it. That's one of the reasons why I started doing these videos in the first place. Hey, we get here's the bare metal deck, this is what it looks like. I do that almost every job, whether they get on YouTube or not. It's just defensive roofing, man. It's just good, smart roofing practice. I got a picture. Hey, term bars going up a wall, got to have water cut off mastic behind it. Guess what? Getting a picture. Right? And my guys do the same thing. Why? Because I say, hey, the inspector said you didn't do such and such and this. He goes, show him this picture. Bam. It ends all that stuff. And there's no frustration. We're not trying to convince anybody. We just show them a picture. Right? So that would be defensive roofing area number 2 that you could apply, even within your own products. All right, another area, guys, where we could really just apply defensive roofing just into very life practical application would be like, let's say you go to a factory or an industrial setting that's existing, and there's either shared equipment, or there's tools, or there's a sign-in sheet, or there's a sign-out sheet, there's a key for a hatch, there's a gate lock. All those things are very, very easy just to snap a picture. If I'm responsible for if I'm the last one out the gate, for example, and a lot of times I am, if I'm trying to finish and Mark Cruz is going to be the last one out, guess what we're going to do? We're going to lock up. Guess what? When we lock up, guess what we do to that lock? We snap a picture of it. There's a time on the picture. There's a date on the picture. We're not going to get hung with, oh, you didn't lock the gate and somebody came in here and stole it. No, we got a picture, right? If I have to close a hatch that has an alarm on it or has a lock on it, I'm going to close the hatch, put the lock on it, push it up, take a picture of it, right? If I've got to use a piece of shared equipment and I've got to put a key back in a certain spot, guess what? That key, I snap a picture of it. I've got pictures, and I'll go back and delete them well after that job's done, but I've got a whole repertoire of pictures that are just random. Cover yourself, protect you. If I've got to take a scissor lift at a factory and it's theirs, and I've got to go over here and do something over here, and I've got to park that scissor lift back where it goes and plug it in the spot where that one goes, because there's a bunch of them and it has to be plugged into that cord, guess what? All that gets a picture. I'm not going to leave anything up to chance to somebody say, oh, they didn't do it there. You're the outsider there, right? You don't work there. It's real easy for an employee. It might be 500 employees at that factory, and they say, oh, the guys you had roofing, they took it. Well, no, we didn't. Well, here's a picture. I took it up. And usually those things like that, they don't happen. What I'm saying is it's just defensive. I'm just protecting. You can see where a little bit of defensive roofing can go a long way. You train your crews on this. Hey, it's not, like I said, we're not trying to do anything crazy. We're just trying to cover ourselves. Somebody makes something crazy. Hey, you didn't put the key back. Yeah, I did right here. I put it back. It's 4:30. Look at that. My guy punched out 4:30 on Friday afternoon. Guess what? The key was hanging right there. We put it back. End of story, man. We're not lying to you. Here's the picture, right? I'm not convincing anybody. I'm just showing you proof. Like, don't get angry. Just show the proof, right? And if you've got the proof, what this does too, it also causes people to kind of know you. They start to learn you. Guys know, like, don't come up here and poke a hole in my roof, right? I'm going to find it. I'm going to figure out who did it, right? It's not about causing problems. It's about just the solving of the problem, really. It eliminates the problems for you and your crew. That's what defensive roofing is. All right, guys, finishing up this video, here is 4 tips for defensive roofing. You don't have to be mean to be defensive. I'm never mean to these other guys or these other trades. I just ask questions. I ask them to help me protect my roof, and I always tell them, hey, if you make a hole, if you step on something that pokes a hole, or you got to put another penetration after you forgot, no big deal. Just tell me. The hard thing for me is to go out and find the hole that you poked on some huge expansive roof, or even on a 5,000 square foot restaurant. If I've got a patch, if you circled it and told me you made a hole, I'll just go patch. It's no big deal. So I don't get mean, because I think if you're mean to them, they don't want to tell you that they poked a hole in it. I don't think it's a big deal. Now, it'll be a big deal if it's raining and I'm up there on Friday night or Saturday morning in a rainstorm and I'm aggravated, hand on my hands and knees crawling for a hole that you made. Now it's a big deal, right? Now I'm angry. But just if they poke a hole and I patch, it's not a big deal. So number 1, be defensive, but don't be mean to people. Number 2, keep your roof clean, because when your roof is clean and there's not roofing material blowing all over the place and your job site's clean, we rough a job in, we take the extra material, it comes down, that roof is clean. Guys that go up there to work on top of your roof, they know, hey man, if I leave a big mess of my trash, it's very easy to pick up the wrapper and see whose trash it was. They could get blamed. So keep your roof clean. Number 3 would be, don't get angry, just get the proof. Somebody makes a hole in your roofs. If there's burn holes underneath the gas lines, I go down, I say, hey man, look, I'm going to charge you to patch these holes. I had a job recently, there was 17 burn holes. Obviously they didn't put plywood. They obviously didn't put a welding blanket. They got a bill for it, whatever. Hey man, I'm not angry about it, but I'm going to charge you. And the 4th one would be to charge, because if you don't charge, guys will just do whatever they want to do. Believe me, you hit them with a $400, $500, $600 change order. No one likes that. Those companies will start managing their employees a little tighter. No one likes those bills, even if they're small. And I don't try to make a bunch of money on them, but I want to get recouped for what my time is. If I got to send guys out to go fix a hole that an electrician made, never caulked his thing and it leaked, I'm going to charge you. If it's not my fault, I'm going to charge you. And then the electrician, guys, he can tell his own employees. So charging at least a fair amount of what it costs you is the 4th one. You've got to charge, guys. You got to get your money back. And that is what honestly puts pressure on these people to stop making holes. It comes from their company. Now it doesn't come from you. It comes from their own managers, right? So guys, hope you can take these examples and do some defensive roofing on your own to protect your reputation, your roof, and your profits. Guys, we'll see you on the next one.